Dr. Ingrid Clayton. I'm a clinical psychologist and a trauma therapist, and I was just listening to something where someone was saying, you don't need to go back and look at every single traumatic thing you've ever experienced or sort of unpack every painful, horrific thing in order to heal from trauma. And this is true, right? That's not necessarily a part of trauma healing, but it presupposes that you know that you have experienced trauma, that you can name yourself as a trauma survivor, that you can own that language. If you can't own that language, then yes, it might actually be a really important part of your process to go back and connect some of the dots, look at some of the things that have happened in your life, see them for the truth of what it was, how it overwhelmed your nervous system, so that you can start to claim some of the other tools of trauma healing, like recognizing when you're in a chronic trauma response, when you are triggered, when you are in a trauma reenactment, when you might be repeating trauma bonding, right? You don't get access to any of these things if you can't claim that you are a trauma survivor. So for someone like me who spoke about trauma every day, been to all the trauma trainings, doing all of these wonderful modalities with my clients, because my trauma was grounded largely in narcissistic abuse, where I was gaslit and manipulated and neglected, told it was my fault, it didn't happen, you're a liar, that you're selfish, you're overreacting. I didn't think that trauma applied to me, right? And then on top of that, you look at really the mental health profession that's still in a debate, which is absurd. I'll make another post about it, about what is trauma, what is traumatic. Big T, little t, blah, 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 PTSD versus CPSD. It makes me crazy to a certain extent, because it's just another way of gaslighting people into saying, you're being a little oversensitive, aren't you? When if we listened to survivors and trusted what they were saying about their experiences, their realities, the actual data of what they're walking through, how they're living their lives, not enabled by choice and agency and self-esteem and all of these other things, we would see this is trauma. Relational trauma is real. It has a deep, deep, deep impact. And you don't need these very large events in order for it to manifest. That's something that takes place over and over and over, a chronic, pervasive presentation of emotional abuse or neglect or some of these other things can create the same condition in our nervous system, and it does. So I just wanted to clear that up a little bit for those of you that feel like, oh, I do sort of need to go back and understand my trauma history so I can own it and claim it. I see you. That's why I wrote a whole book about my experiences and why so many people can take a deep breath and exhale when they read it if they had similar experiences, because they have now access to their truth, like I had to fight for mine. All right, that's it.